Good morning. I am Dr. Wilhelmina, and each week I bring you wellness tips, also a little bit of skincare information, and really any information that I think somebody might be able to use. And I have fun doing it. So today we're going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart, and that is forgetfulness. As I've gotten older, I find that I'm often forgetful. So I thought that might be a good topic to share with others. For me, I always thought it was about just getting older. And while I was in school doing my dissertation, I noticed that I had so much information in my head that it just wasn't enough room for everything. So I would be really forgetful when I was, working and doing school, and it was just a lot to try to keep up with a very busy schedule. And the job I had was really hectic with a lot of travel. So you add that in, I'm definitely forgetful at that point. But there are some particular physical reasons why you probably could be getting forgetful that may not be what you think it is. So I thought I'd bring you that topic and you can decide whether these things affect you or not. I know I'm guilty of some of these, and maybe you are too. So, reducing forgetfulness can be approached through several strategies. Number one, having regular physical exercise. Exercise increases your blood flow to the brain and can improve your memory. So, the more active I am, I do find that I have a little less of that forgetfulness. When there's so much going on in your head, when you've got a heavy job to do and you got to take care of folks. Like for me as a supervisor, I have so many employees that sometimes I'm just running around trying to make sure I take care of them and the business, the office business, make sure the mission gets done. And it's a lot. But I find that when I do have exercise, I do feel a little bit more clear so I can validate that point. Okay, number two is healthy diet. Eating a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains supports brain health. It also supports your skin health too. I just did a little tip about that this week. So, having that healthy diet can help keep that brain flowing like you need it to. Um, Fruits and vegetables, I've eaten a lot of those lately, and I do see a difference. Whole grains, sometimes, but all three of those things keep your brain healthy. Adequate sleep. Ensuring you get enough quality sleep is crucial for memory consolidation. Sorry, word got me for a second. I know that word, consolidation. Um, so the thing about sleep, healthy, adequate sleep is something you have to be present for. You have to think about it. You can't just go lay down. You don't want to sleep with the TV on. You don't wanna have a lot of light around, sometimes with our electronics, they emit light. I know my, um, charger on the floor, my, surge protector, it has a light, and so I tend to push it back so that it's not affecting my sleep. I remember at one time I had a clock that would show the time on the ceiling. Oh, that was horrible because that light was always there, and that messes with my sleep. I can tell the light is there. And so it can be distracting. Also, making sure the time is right. If you know you got to get up early in the morning, you want to push that back a little bit so that you get enough hours of sleep. 6 to 8 hours of sleep would be great. And if you travel, like I used to do a lot more travel than I have more recently, but my time clock was always off. So, adjusting how long you stay up when you get back home or, maybe starting earlier when you get back home, just knowing what you need to get those hours of sleep that you need before you go to start the next day. And there's a lot of information on the internet about sleep hygiene. You can definitely get that easy. Okay, mental stimulation. So you want to engage in activities that challenge your brain, like puzzles, reading, or learning skills, or new skills, sorry. So I have a friend that does Sudoku. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's what he does to keep himself fresh. And these new skills, there's so many things you could do out there. You could do puzzles. I couldn't necessarily do reading because I like to do reading through audio. So I don't know if that really keeps my mental stimulation. So I try to do things that are, fun for me, and honestly, reading is not. To sit and read a book, a lot of people love it. I have family members that love to read, and they don't even wanna do anything audio. They wanna sit with the book. They love it. Organization. So if you use calendars, to-do lists, and reminders to keep track of your tasks and appointments, that can be helpful too for your forgetfulness. And I have this thing I learned when I was in the Air Force, and that was today's work today. And so you'd have every morning I would go sit at my desk and I'd write down what I knew I had to do for that day. I would check off those boxes as I finished them. So when I leave at the end of the day, if something's not done, I know when I come back tomorrow, I got to get it. So that was like an immediate short term thing. But having your appointments on your calendars are helpful. You don't wanna have to run out because, "Oh, I forgot to tell my boss this or that. I have this medical appointment or that." Yeah, definitely having your calendar, using it to plan out so that you don't, um, end up short on some task you needed to do. Plan out. Go out about a month out or more to know what you're gonna do at each week, each point, and that helps you get your projects done and gives you your to-do list and reminders to keep track of your appointments and tasks. Mindfulness and stress management. Stress will knock you off of anything that you're trying to do because you're focused on the wrong thing or the right thing, but it's very stressful. Like even a wedding is stressful. Uh, and it's a positive thing, but it's stressful. So Um, yeah, stress needs to be managed, and there's so much information out there where you can do a class, you can read up on how to manage stress. Stress isn't about controlling situations because you can't control anybody else but yourself. And so stress management classes are really good for getting you straight and then giving you the verbiage you need to tell yourself when you get in those situations that are stressful to keep you calm, to keep you focused. So, and mindfulness is another thing you could do. That's like having meditation, yoga, and those kind of things. So, techniques like meditation and yoga can reduce stress, which can negatively impact memory. So, those are some tips on number six on stress management and mindfulness. Social interaction. You got to stay socially active. You can help keep your brain engaged and improve memory. Um, I think there's many forms of being social. You could be at home and be social. You can get on these apps with your friends and colleagues or whoever you want to talk to, and you can do video. You don't have to leave the house to do it, but leaving the house isn't bad either. But sometimes we want to stay in the house, and when we do, we still have to be social to help our memory. Huh, this one's big. This is what I was telling you in the beginning. Number 8 is limit multitasking. Focus on one task at a time to ensure better retention of information. And that is true. Have you ever been talking to someone? And I'm really bad about this one to catch myself. Someone comes into your office, you're busy, you're working, you're doing something you're doing that has to be done. You got a time limit on it. And then that person walks in and starts talking, and you're still kinda trying to work on that task, or somebody calls you and you're still trying to work on that task while you're did you remember anything they said? Did anything they say stick with you? Probably not. So, you either have to stop, give that person your attention, and get all that they're giving you because something important might be in there, let them unpack what they wanna tell you, or you need to focus on the thing you're doing on the computer, tell them, "Can you come back in an hour? Can you come back in 15 minutes and we can talk about this?" You have to pick one or the other because that multitasking makes you really scattered, and I know this. Okay. Hydration. Staying hydrated is important for optimal brain function. So, you may notice that if you're not drinking enough water or having enough fluids, you'll find that you might be more forgetful, and I'm sure that's true. So that was hydration was tip number 9. So the reason why I just tell you a little bit the reason why these came to me before we close out. I was visiting home and I spent, ooh, I think it was about 4 different days. I went for hours with my sister who's in a nursing home. And I loved it at first because I hadn't seen her and, she doesn't get a lot of visits. So I really wanted to come home and take the time to spend the time with her. And I noticed that the first day I arrived and the conversation was good. She was tracking, everything was wonderful. And we were connecting, and the conversation was really good. But the other 3 days, I guess it depended on when I arrived because she's on medication, and so depending on whether she had her meds or not. So the conversation would be, all over the place, forgetfulness, the stories weren't connecting. There was so much about, the stories weren't correct, but something I noticed, there was, of course, forgetfulness there, so I got that subject, but something else I noticed, if you have friends and family and they're in places where, they can get out, can't go places, can't drive, can't walk, whatever, um, pay attention. Give them the time they need, and I noticed that her stories had meaning, like, they were wrong, the things that she was saying, she was missing. Just it couldn't be what she was saying, but her stories were her world. She had her own little world there. There were people that would visit, supposedly didn't come into the room, passing in the hallway, but there were significant people to her that I'm sure she really wishes were there visiting her. But she has her own little city of stuff going on there, business, people, friends, family, people from way back. And they're coming through, they're talking to her, they're sticking their head in, whatever, whatever. And it was not sad to her, it's happy. So one of the things I only argued a couple points and then I realized, stop. Let her have her world, whatever it is that makes her happy, because she's there and she's not gonna be out going out doing things. So um I I will never argue with her. Okay, maybe once or twice. But, for the most part, it's her world, and I let her have it, but the forgetfulness just struck me that I wanted to talk about it. Now, there could be other reasons for forgetfulness, like serious reasons, so you do wanna get checked out by a doc. But these are some tips that will help you if it's really about you not taking care of these particular 9 type topics that you're not taking care of, and that could make you a little bit more forgetful, and that may not be significant. But again, get it checked out, and if you implement these habits, they can improve memory and reduce forgetfulness over time. But again, if it begins to be serious, make sure you see your doc. And that's all I have for you today. Please share this podcast with friends or family, people you think can benefit from it, and have them follow. I am Dr. Wilhelmina, and my podcast is Dr. Wilhelmina. All right. I hope that you have a beautiful weekend and keep coming back. Take care.